Before you begin to say things like, that drug where I take no just sharp at all, it didn't even work on my body, I just say na fake medicine then give me. You need to ask yourself the following questions. Number one, did you really take that drug well? Number two, when the pharmacist was trying to counsel you on how and when to take the drug, were you listening? Or do you belong to the group of people that will say, you don't write as I go take am, or you're going to make and they go. Then you carry your bag and rush out to go and do spoil.
So this is what you do.
When you hear, take one tablet 3 times a day, there are 24 hours in a day. 24 hours divided by 3 will give you 8 hours. So it simply means that you have to take one tablet every 8 hours of that day. And you start counting the 8 hours from the minute you take the first dose. So if you take the first dose by 7 a.m., second dose will be by 3 p.m., then the third dose will be by 11 p.m. When you hear, take one tablet 2 times a day, 24 hours divided by 2 will give you 12 hours. So you have to take one tablet every 12 hours of that day. If you take the first dose by 7 a.m., the second dose will be by 7 p.m. When you hear, take one tablet daily, it simply means that you have to take one tablet every 24 hours. That is equal to the same time every day. So if you take the first dose by 7 a.m. today, the second dose by 7 a.m. tomorrow, then the third dose will be by 7 a.m. next tomorrow.
Nobody told me.
So you might ask, why should I be so time conscious about my drugs? You should be time conscious about your drugs because for that drug to actually give you the maximum effect that you need to treat that particular illness, it has to maintain what is called a steady state concentration in your body, which means that the amount of drug that is circulating in your body at a particular period of time has to remain within the limit that is needed to treat that illness for a very long time, which is usually within the duration that the drug was prescribed.
That's interesting.
When you take a dose of a drug, that drug is absorbed and it begins to circulate around the body and do its work. After giving the effect that it is meant to give, it's time for that drug to leave the body. So it is broken down and it begins to leave the body. So you have to timely take another dose of drug to continue from where that first dose stopped to be able to treat that illness or condition. That is why the time interval between each dose of a drug is very important.
You get it? Okay. If you don't get it, forget about it.
So there are some drugs that have what is called a narrow therapeutic window, which means that there is a thin line between the dose that will treat your illness and the dose that will cause you problem. So when you now begin to say, I'm supposed to take my next dose by 11 p.m., let me just take it by 6 p.m. so that I can sleep well. The amount of drug that will be in your body at a particular time might be too toxic for you because the first dose has not left, you need to add another one to it. And that is when you now begin to see some kind of serious adverse effect that might even land you in the emergency unit of a hospital.
Allow me to live my own life the way I want it.
So in the same vein, when you begin to skip your doses or take your drug way past the given time, that drug will not work well for you. The illness you are trying to treat will be looking at you, giving you bombastic side eye, and it will seem as though you came to play. Sometimes your body can even begin to develop what is called resistance to those drugs, such that when you need it again in the future, it will not work for you. So how can you ensure that you stay time conscious about your drugs? Number one, you can make good use of your alarms or your reminders to remind you when to take your next dose, or you ask a family member or your friend to remind you to take your drugs at a certain time. Number two, you can talk to your pharmacist. Ask your pharmacist if it will be okay for you to take your drug an hour or 2 hours before time. That is, if you cannot meet the exact time for one reason or the other. And the pharmacist will advise and counsel you on the best way to go about it.
The ball is not in your court.
So, Sakolo and Co, don't be in a hurry to rush out so that you will not rush back in. See you in my next video.